Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden. And yeah, I'm still sick. Have a bit of a head cold. Well, quite a bit more than just a bit. But red nose. My grandson's been teasing me, calling me Rudolph because of my red nose from sneezing and coughing and blowing it so much. But it is what it is. Now, I figured, what I want to make today is small. Well, it's not small. It's a little necklace. But it's really simple. And it's going to be, and it shouldn't take us long to make it because there isn't really all that much to it. So let's turn down and I'll show you what I mean. So these pieces are from the Boughs and Berries kit from Bargain Bead Box. And then I added some coreana chain, an S-hook clasp. These are all from the kit. A bail, and of course crimp beads and little clamshells to finish off our coreana chain. Now this is a lot more coreana chain than I need. I only want about 18 inches. So that's the first thing we're going to do is cut this and put the rest of it away. So we'll go to 12 and then another 6. So our 18 is about right here. So cut that off. So this is the piece we need. This is the excess, which I'm going to put back in its packaging. And we can do this one of two ways now. I think the easiest way is to simply put our crimp on. Now, for this, I'm going to use the regular crimping pliers because we're going to just take these little guys here. Well, first we're going to put on the clamshell. Now, these clamshells are almost too small, but they do work. I have used them. So I just have to get this baby in here. Now I want one of our little oops, dropped it off. One of the things I find with coreana chain is I swear it's just like a limp noodle when you're working with it. Unlike beading wire, which is sort of got some substance to it, this stuff likes to just well, flop over like a limp noodle. So we'll put our crimp on. Come on, baby, go on. And I'm just going to want it just barely on the wire or on the chain. And then I'm going to take my crimping pliers. Come on, get hold of that crimp. In the number 1 slot down here at the base. Now it's in there a little crooked, so I'm going to try and straighten it. Then I'm going to bring her up so she's almost at the end, and then I'm going to squish. Now see, she's in that little inverted like V. So then you take it, put it in the other side sideways so your little inverted V is upwards, and squish again. Now we're going to take our clamshell. We're going to bring it back up here, and then we're going to take our pliers and we're going to squish that baby together. So there is the one side done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to feed these other pieces on. So we want a crimp bead, one of the tree agates, one of the melon beads, a second tree agate, and a crimp bead again. So this is going to be up along here, and I have to decide exactly how, where we want these spaced out at, because I'm going to put 3 of these little patterns on each side of our charm. So crimp bead, tree agate, melon bead, tree agate, and another crimp bead. So that'll be the second section when we decide to tighten those up. And then we'll have a third section. So crimp bead, excuse my sniffles, sorry about that. Crimp bead, tree agate, melon bead, tree agate, crimp bead. These crimp beads are very tiny, so they are not always easy to work with. So there is our 3 sections for this side, which we will have to decide where we're going to put them in a bit, and then we'll lock it into place. Now we're going to put on our bail. Then, now you got to watch it because these little guys will go through your bail, but we're still going to just feed the rest of them onto here with this same patterning. Come on, little guys. Crimp bead, tree agate, melon bead, tree agate, crimp bead, Come on, baby. Now it looks like I have a couple of extra crimp tubes, probably because I expected to lose one or two of them because they're so tiny. But luckily we didn't. So now I'm going to put the other clamshell on. Come on, baby, go down a little bit. There we go. And one more of our crimp tubes. And since I have everything I need on here, I can now crimp this side. So we're going to put the crimp into our bottom loop. Bring her way up towards the top. Squish. We've got our V notch there, see? Put them in here and squish again. And there is our crimp on. Now we'll put our clamshell back up there. Take our pliers and pull this baby together. So now all the bits and pieces are on here. We just have to decide for sure where we want our pieces to go. They'll probably go about like so. And then up here. Get down there, you. And then couple inches up, couple more inches up, and just crimp them all together like so. But what I want to do is get our pieces like so, and then I'm going to want to do the first one. Come on, where's my, there it is. We're going to decide where we want the first one at, which is probably going to be somewhere around here. And then we got to get in here and crimp it. So since we want it to be about right here, get it down into our crimp plier. Well, if I can get it to behave and stay where I want it. Now, is this going to be about the right spot? I think it'll be all right. So squish, and turn, and squish. Now, these crimps end up being so small when they're finished being crimped that I don't worry about putting a cover on them or anything like that, because they're pretty well right there. So we'll get this now, this second one, and it's going to drop down close to that. So I'm going to get it into my crimping plier. Push it down right to it, squish. Then I'm going to turn it and squish again. Now we have to decide how far up we want our next one to go. And I'm thinking about right here. So I'll just get my crimping plier into the bottom one. Decide if I like where it's sitting. And squish. And then we'll turn and squish again. Get our crimp nice and clean. Push our beads down. Get our next crimp, which is up here with our other set. And get it into our crimping plier. Bring it down. Squish. Turn and squish again. So there's our second one on. This crimp you can see right here goes on the other side. It's fallen through, but that's all right. So now we're going to decide where we want this third set at. I'm going to get the crimp. We're going to move it up to about where we want it. Oh, I'm off screen, sorry. Crimp, turn, and crimp. Drop these beads down. And it could have been a little lower, but it's not bad. So now we want to grab this top one. Crimp, turn, and now this side is finished. Well, as far as putting the beads on, we still have to do our finishing touches. But, so there's how what this side is looking. This is, of course, our bottom. So now what we want to do is get our crimp beads. Well, this one needs to go back over to the other side, since it's where it doesn't belong. And it's going to go come on, you, over here. And since it's determined to go over to the other side, what we may do is do the top one first, because we're going to put it in by comparing it to our other side here, where it's sitting at, by pulling it tight, the two pieces, I'm letting it wrap up. Don't want it to do that. So we'll grab the two pieces and pull them tight. So then we can see that this one should go right about here. So we will take hold of it like so. Get our crimping plier in and squish. Then we're going to turn and squish it again. Push our beads down to our crimp. Beads down to the crimp. And then bring this one down. Now we'll put our crimping pliers in this next one, which is the top of this other set. Push it down into place and squish, and turn and squish. So now this one's set. And we're going to do that all the way up the line to get them pretty much the same place. You're this one right here. Pretty close. The second side is always hardest to do because you have to be careful that you're getting your beads in the proper spot. Squish and turn and squish. Now we got to do the last set. Which is, come here you. From here to just a touch down. Maybe you went a touch too far down. Well, no, I think you're about right. Maybe even could go down just a touch more. That looks good. So put my thumbnail right here so it can't slide around too much more. Put our crimp bead in our plier, squish and turn and squish. Drop the beads down with our last crimp tube and get our crimping plier in, squish and turn and squish. So now she's pretty well set up. If she's off a teeny bit, it's probably just a teeny bit, and I'm not going to worry about it atrociously much. So it is off a teeny bit. You can see that. Come here, you. Get up here where you belong. You can see that this one's, they're just off just a hair's breadth from each other. But I don't think they're too much of a problem. So now our last few things to do is we have to get some jump rings and put our S-clasp on. Now, one thing you have to remember with the S-clasp is they tend to be really tight when you first get them. See how that doesn't want to go on? So I tend to get my pliers out and spread them just a little bit. See if that did it. It still needs a bit of a spread on here. See, it doesn't want to go on still. Now you want it to be relatively tight, but you don't want it to be so tight you can't get it on. There it did go on, but it's still a little tighter than I would like it because it's going to be a battle to get it in and on and off. Now I think I may have opened it too much. No, I think it's good. So now what we need to do is get a couple of jump rings and hook these two on the two sides here. And then we need to get a jump ring and put our tree on. Now, one thing I didn't do with our tree is I was thinking that even though we have some green in the boughs, I might be able to get it to take a bit more. So I'm going to put some more green ink on here. Now, this is going over where the boughs are at and onto the stainless. And I know it's doing that. But one thing about the stainless is that it doesn't hold the ink very well because it's such a shiny surface that it will come back off relatively easily. So what I'm going to do is let that relatively easily happen. And I'm going to rub it off most of the way in just a few moments. I'm going to let it dry in there somewhat though, so it doesn't try and instantly come all the way off. I don't want it all the way off. So let's get these hooked on. Now, when you're going through these clamshells, you need to grab both links because that's what holds it in place better. So, and this is a small one, so it's going to be a little tight. Come on, you. You want to go through both because that's what holds your clamshell together. I've seen some clamshells that only has one side, and they always sort of weird me out because I'm like, okay, what's holding it together if it's only got one side? Could easily pull apart, I would think. So there's our S hook, so we'll put that on here. And there she is. This crimp's a little weird. Let's see if I can fix it some. Okay, that's better. So now the necklace portion is finished. It just needs to have our little pendant put on. But before we do that, we want to take a paper towel and we want to rub it. See how the green came off of where it's just shiny without any imprint? Came off pretty easily. That's why it won't hold the ink. But the little tree held the ink because it has an imprint. So now I want to take this out and seal it by spraying it with some Krylon spray. And I noticed that my brown came out. Oh, not too bad. I had some brown in the trunk here that has come out part way. We're gonna see if we can't put that in a little better again. There we go. See what I mean? It's holding the color inside the imprint, but not on the stainless steel part, which is shiny. So I'm going to go spray this with some Krylon. We'll be back in a bit. This will have to dry for a little while before we can put it on. So it'll be a few moments. So I have gone and fetched our little tree. It's dry now, so she's ready to be stuck on. So all we're going to do is take this last jump ring, open it up, and we're going to hook it to our little pendant piece and then to our bail. Close her up. And as usual, I have the split to the front, which I'd rather have it to the back if I can get this to flip over. So let's see if I can do that. There we go. And there's our little necklace all finished using our Bargain Bead Box Boughs and Berries. Little charm. The tree agate, the melon beads, all from the kit, and the coreana chain is from my stash, as is our little bell. So isn't that cute? It's pretty. So there we go. So there's our little necklace all finished. It's pretty simple. Very cute. Nice little everyday wearer necklace that you could wear with anything at any time. So this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we have been using our Bargain Bead Box's Boughs and Berries kit to make this sweet little necklace. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.